Alright there, YouTube, it is the Bat Nerd, and I am back with another X-Men related video for you people. This time it is the X-Men movies, all ranked. So, there are 12 movies altogether, including the two Deadpool movies. Yes, they are considered part of the X-Men franchise. Well, at least to my knowledge it is. So, yeah, here we go. This is all my personal opinion. None of you have to agree with it. If you have your own ranking opinions, then let me know down in the comments below. So here we go, the X-Men movies ranked. So, here we go. So coming in at number 12, we have X-Men The Last Stand. Number 11, X-Men Dark Phoenix. Number 10, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And number 9, X-Men. So, X-Men The Last Stand. When I saw this, I had high hopes for it, but at the end of the day, it just didn't really hold up, you know? I mean, first of all, I think one thing they do is they kill Cyclops off way early in the movie. I mean, he doesn't get that much screen time at all. Secondly, they kill Charles Xavier until there's that post-credits scene where he's apparently alive. Yeah, Jean Grey becomes the Phoenix. This, I just did not think was a great movie. It had all the good stuff there. I think the trailers were way better than the full movie, but, yeah, it just fell flat, you know, and, I think Hugh Jackman did great as Wolverine, and Kelsey Grammer as Beast. I just thought this one was bad. But, still, the franchise kept going, and I put Dark Phoenix at number 11. I explained in my review, they clearly don't know what they're doing with the Phoenix character in the movies. It's just, like I say, I found it a snooze fest, and the cast and the acting was good, but the story just did not hold up. It was just a letdown for me. Yeah, I guess the Phoenix in this X-Men franchise, to me, is not my favorite character. Just has a need to destroy and pretty bland. And then I put at number 10, X-Men Origins Wolverine. When I saw this, I liked it. I was like, he hasn't got the metal claws. This was a great origin story for Wolverine. But what the fuck, right, with Deadpool? Deadpool, what the hell were they thinking doing that with Deadpool? He looked nothing like his comic book counterpart. I'm so glad that Deadpool went back in time, in Deadpool 2 and killed it. That was a funny moment in that one. Deadpool 2 we'll get to a little later in this ranking. And then at number 9 I put X-Men. So X-Men, it was the first entry in the franchise. I remember liking it as a kid. Hugh Jackman was good as Wolverine. I kept wanting to see him hopefully don the yellow spandex, but he did not. Whether they do it because of rights, I don't know. But this movie was good. It just didn't feel like X-Men, you know, because I was so used to the 90s animated series. It just didn't feel like X-Men to me. Not yet, anyway. And Magneto's motivation turned everyone into a mutant. Yeah, I mean, it's an okay movie, but it's just not the best. But it's a great way to start the franchise, which did dawn many sequels, which are in this list. Okay, so at number 8, it is X2, X-Men United. At number 7 is X-Men Apocalypse. Number 6, Deadpool 2. And number 5, Wolverine. The Wolverine. So, X-Men United. I thought this sequel was better than the first movie. We didn't get Toad or Sabretooth in this one. Yeah, Sabretooth and Toad. They're only in the first movie. I mean, Sabretooth does come back as Liv Schreiber. Liv Schreiber was a good Sabretooth. Tyler Mane, I didn't really think much to him. He was underdeveloped, I think, along with Toad. Still, we had Mystique and Magneto. who were like the bad guys, but they kind of joined forces with the X-Men to fight a common enemy. The Striker, played by Brian Cox in the second movie. Yeah, this had good action and a good enough story. It introduced us to Nightcrawler, played by Alan Cummings. I think that's who. Yeah, and yeah, it was a great sequel, and I enjoyed it when it came out. But my nose is itchy. But since then, many other sequels have buried it. But at the time, it's definitely the best one. Till more of them came out. Then at number 7, I put X-Men Apocalypse. Now, ever since that post-credits scene in X-Men Days of Future Past, because I stuck around for the after-credits, I was like, alright, Apocalypse are finally giving him the live screen treatment. The big screen treatment, and they did. Oscar Isaacs was okay as Apocalypse. I just really didn't look much up to the comic books, but you know, with movies and comic books, they change them a lot. But this was a great one, set in the 80s. I just did not like how Jubilee's scenes got cut from this movie. She was in the movie, but a lot more of her scenes, which would have been great in the movie, got left on the cutting room floor. We got to see Quicksilver in this, and he mentioned that Magneto is his father in this. I don't recall him getting back to that in X-Men Dark Phoenix. They might have, but like I said, X-Men Dark Phoenix, I found it hard to concentrate. Angel, he was kind of cool in X-Men The Last Stand, but X-Men Apocalypse, I just didn't really like him much. Olivia Munn, she was, hot in this as, what was her character's name now? I can't remember, but we got Storm reintroduced to this. It was a good film, but there's so many other installments that were better than it. So yes, X-Men Apocalypse. Number 6, I put Deadpool 2 in there. Not Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2. I thought this was a fun sequel. Ever since they teased it in the first Deadpool movie, yeah, I just think it's a fun sequel. How Wade Wilson constantly keeps breaking the fourth wall and mentioning references to Wolverine, saying "fuck Wolverine," and yeah, and I like Josh Brolin as Cable. What's her name? Who played Domino? She was great in this. Yeah, and it has hilarious moments in this movie. But it was a good sequel, and I did enjoy it, but there were some serious moments to it. But I do still love the slapstick that Ryan Reynolds gave. Ryan Reynolds, he wasn't so good in X-Men Origins Wolverine, but I'm so glad they brought him back for Deadpool standalone movies. And I really hope that they keep Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in the MCU when that all happens. Because it's definitely going to happen, just not for some time. And at number 5, I put the Wolverine. Definitely the best standalone movie the second best standalone movie for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I like the Japanese feel it had, set in Japan. I loved it how his death was foreshadowed in it, except for it wasn't quite like his heart was literally in his hand. He had, his clone daughter, X-23, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, I liked the action in this, and the Japanese tone to it. It was like a Japanese action thriller. The villain in it was okay. Yeah, it was just a great solo movie for Wolverine. They even teased in a deleted scene the yellow spandex suit that he was known for in the comics, but he didn't wear it. And then there was the whole mid-credits scene where Charles Xavier and Magneto recruit Logan for the events of Days of Future Past. Okay, so now we're at our bottom 4. So coming in at number 4 is X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 3, X-Men First Class. Number 2, Deadpool 1. And number 1, Logan. So, Days of Future Past. I liked that this was a collaboration between the old and the new franchises. Yes, especially how James McAvoy tapped into Wolverine's mind and saw his future self. And how Kitty just did that whole thing with Wolverine, sending him mentally back in time in his past self. How this was set in the 70s. We had like X-Men First Class in the 60s, X-Men Days of Future Past in the 70s, well, half of it, and Apocalypse in the 80s, and Dark Phoenix in the 90s, and X-Men in the 2000s. And, this was also set in a dystopian future where humans and mutants are at war with the Sentinels. I liked how this reintroduced the Sentinels and gave them the big screen treatment they deserved after a brief cameo in X-Men The Last Stand, where Wolverine cuts off its head in the holographic danger room. This was a fun, a fun movie, and how we got to see collaborations between the old cast members and the new cast members. There was Wolverine in there, which was only played by Hugh Jackman. You can't replace Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Well, it's gonna happen, and Hugh Jackman's all in favor of getting his role recast. The role that made him famous. I just like this one. And the ending, it's a good ending, where you kind of don't really need a sequel, but maybe that's why they set Apocalypse in the 80s. Okay, and at number 3 I put First Class. I like this. I like how it was a prequel, how it's unaltered as well, because this takes place in both timelines, because it was before the timeline got altered, so this is like part of the X-Men past that is untouched, and I liked that movie. I liked how it was a prequel, how they got James McAvoy to be a young Charles Xavier where he could walk till the end, and how they had a young Magneto in there, how it introduced Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, how they were all like good guys and then they turned bad. I thought this was a great origin story, and Kevin Bacon was great as the villain. January Jones as her character I thought was great, but I feel she didn't have much dialogue or development as the others. But still, it's a great movie. I enjoyed it, and I saw this a few times in cinemas. It's a great prequel movie, and it is a prequel, and, like I say, unaltered, untouched by the events of any other X-Men installment that involves time travel. I like the little cameo we had from Wolverine in there, too, when Charles and Eric go up to him, and they introduce themselves, and then he's sat at the bar and says, "Go fuck yourself." That was a funny moment for me. And at number 2, I put Deadpool, because they finally went all out with it. They finally gave a superhero movie the R rating that Deadpool needed. Because I thought they could make it 12A, PG-13, but it'll be bland, and I don't think it would have been as cool. I thought Deadpool was cool. I liked how they gave Ryan Reynolds a second chance, how he slagged off previous installments of superhero movies and the previous Deadpool. It was just fun. It was a fun action movie, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I like how they revamped Colossus after his very small part in X-Men 2. It was just a fun film all round, and I loved the hell out of Deadpool. It was just funny, funny, actiony, and I thought, this so deserves a sequel. Whether the sequel would be good, it was good, just not as good as the first movie. I loved the whole post-credit scene where he's ripping off Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, it's a fun movie, and I just love it. And then I put it number 1, Logan. So after 2 solo movies, being a supporting character in the X-Men movies, he got a great story to end all things. This was Hugh Jackman's last time as the character. This time set in the future, 2029, I think. and he's like looking after Charles Xavier after he develops like dementia or something and kills the other mutants brain dead except for Logan. It's a very bleak story, and I'm glad that they went into graphic detail, especially with the violence and the swearing. Yeah, I think what we needed was an R-rated Wolverine movie, and we got it. Just, it's beautiful, yet it's dark. And I like that, Logan, Wolverine, he sort of retired from being Wolverine. And he's just a drunk, he's bored with life. At first he doesn't accept X-23 as like his clone daughter, but then at the end he kind of does. It's a sad ending, but it's a good ending to to wrap up, Logan's story. And it was sad, but so good at the same time. We got Stephen Merchant in there, the return of Patrick Stewart, probably playing his character Charles Xavier one last time as well. Yeah, it was just a nicely done movie for the character of Wolverine, and I feel that Hugh Jackman and his take on the character of Wolverine finally got the send-off, got the show they deserved, and I loved it. I still find the ending sad, but like I said, at the same time, so good. So, those are my X-Men movies ranked. My top 12. Do you have your own ranking of this? Let me know down in the comments below. We can have a discussion. Tell me your opinion. I'd love to know what you think, how you would rank these movies. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. It would mean a lot to me if you do. If you don't, no hard feelings. All my social media links are down below in the description. So that's it for this video. So, yes, until next time, Bad Nerd out.